And now, live in studio, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
Yes, here we are again, another day committed to picking a fight with the mainstream media and providing you the timely truth centered around real estate, credit, finance, sports events in Tampa Bay. You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback Show. Our number one goals are to educate, entertain, enlighten, and we want to engage you in an effort to help you win in any marketplace.
The only thing I'm addicted to right now is winning.
Now, we want you to save our hotline number in your phone, 813-670-7372.
You used to call me on my cell phone.
813-670-7372. Now, you can call or text that line, consumer advocate content here, consumerqb.com. We're going to help you win at consumerqb.com. You can see links to all of our expert contributors, the finest folks in all of Tampa Bay and the Gulf Coast region of Florida that we've assembled, we've vetted, and we bring on the radio every day to help you win in any marketplace. Daily 5 o'clock drive time here on 1380 The Biz, the Wall Street Business Network, syndicated on the weekends, FM 1025 The Bone. Daily TV show as well. You can watch from our website, consumerqb.com, or from WeBeam TV as well, and 10 a.m. on WeBeam TV. All right, we're here in studio. We're going to help you win in any marketplace. Mario Larrea in the house, mortgage specialist with MI Mutual Mortgage. Welcome in, sir.
Hey, great to be here. So I'm going to be going over, with mortgages, there's basically three things that go into it. That's credit capacity and collateral. So right. One of the big ones up front is going to be your credit. And I'm going to be going through a lot of the common misconceptions that I hear a lot, how people can go about, getting their credit to where it needs to be, and, kind of what we're looking for as far as mortgages are concerned.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great update as well. We look at, some of the things. It's a fluid market, so it's a great time to, kind of look at getting a rate lock, look at what you might want to do in terms of your investment portfolio, your debt portfolio, and Mario Larrea can help you with all types of mortgage financing as well. And we're expecting a call in from Rob Higgins as well. He's going to be calling in now. He's the director of the Tampa Bay Sports Commission. Very cool and exciting news. Tampa may have locked down another Super Bowl, kind of on the cutting edge of that. We've got a Super Bowl. We've got the Lightning or the hockey All-Star game coming up as well. So it's going to be an interesting conversation that we're going to have with Rob Higgins. He's the director of Tampa Bay Sports Commission here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, helping you win in any marketplace. And as a published author, professional speaker, I'd love for you to check out our book on Amazon, Become the MVP in Your Industry by Surfing the Radio Waves. We're helping you understand more about the radio business and how to start your own show. We've written a couple books, and also looking to speak to schools, organizations, communities, any type of organization as a keynote speaker. We'd love to talk to them. Now, we always start off with a little bit of a 2-minute drill. So we got that 2-minute drill. Peyton Manning helping us there with the audible. So sometimes in life you want to call an audible. So today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about what Thomas Edison called the hardest of all disciplines, thinking. Thinking is the hardest of all disciplines, and the discipline of clear thinking is the ability to slow down. And you want to think of it as, think of a bucket of silt that has a lot of dirt in it and it's shook up. It's very cloudy. You can't see through it, right? So if you think of it as a bucket of silt in your daily life and how that relates to decisions that you're making on a daily basis, especially those decisions that come to do with finance, relationships, money, you want to look at developing the discipline of clear thinking and let that dirt settle to the bottom. The longer you take time and you pause, the dirt's going to settle to the bottom. We're very busy today. We have the most flexible or the most hesitant lifestyle. And in a lot of cases, you're looking at the social media, you're looking at the iPhones, the different Facebooks. We're bombarded with sensory input. And think on paper as another rule. You want to write down the details, the pros, the cons, kind of like an internal SWOT analysis for the business gurus out there, the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And the rule is fast decisions are usually wrong decisions. decisions. So take the time to develop the discipline of clear thinking, what Thomas Edison called the hardest of all disciplines, and that's going to be crucial to your success. 2-minute drill here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. I'm your host, Brandon Rhymes. In studio, we're going to talk with Mario Larrea here. So Mario, when you look at the real estate space, you look at the mortgage space, there's a lot of things happening. It's a very fluid market, and it's important to stay in tune with what's happening.
Yeah, definitely. And I get a lot of people that, and I think I've mentioned this before, that I'll talk to them and they're kind of thinking about doing something, but they don't want to have their credit pulled. And one of the things that people don't realize is that there's a ton of different. There's probably like 20 to 30 different types of scoring models. So, I'll get somebody who calls in and they're like, hey, I know my credit score because I just applied for a car loan and they told me it was this. Well, the thing about car loans is they use a model that's specific for auto industries for the most part. So their score range, it goes more directly towards how have your auto payments been. Now, it does take other things into consideration, but it focuses mostly on that. So if you call me thinking that that's your score, 9 times out of 10, that's not going to be your credit score. So, one of the important things, and I try to tell people this, is if you're thinking about getting a mortgage, call me. I'll tell you what the score is that we're looking at, because ours is more of a general score. It goes through everything. Another one that I get is, people on Credit Karma. Credit Karma is not, a lot of times that's just a modeled score. So it's not going to be the exact score that we're going off of. I'll go and take a look at their credit and they'll get all upset because the score is different than what they saw in Credit Karma. And I'm like, that's not your actual score. Now, where Credit Karma can help people is if you see movement. So, if you see it going up on Credit Karma, then your scores are going up. But if it says you're a 650, more than likely you're somewhere around that range, but you're definitely not a 650 exactly, So if they're coming down, then, typically the real credit scores are going to follow that as well. So it's a good indicator, especially for people that are trying to build their scores up to increase their scores, to see what's going on there without actually having to pull your credit.
What are some of the ways that you've seen credit improved over your career? Different things that people can do. Have you seen, have you been able to coach people through that process?
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of things too. And, it's with mortgages, we look at so much more than like a credit card or a car loan. We're looking at collections. We're looking at, basically everything that's on there. Your debt ratio is a huge one that we look at. So like a lot of times people will call, say, hey, here's my credit score. Can I qualify? And it's not that simple. There's a lot more that we're looking for on that report. Now, one of the things that, kind of what I was to answer your question is, when we look at reports, let's say somebody has collections on there, certain collections you don't want to pay off. So if the collection's sitting there and it hasn't reported for a year or two,
right,
you want to leave it alone, because as soon as you pay that collection off, now you have a collection account that updates, and it actually impacts your score negatively, even though you're paying it off. So you want to look at, get with me. I'll go through it, and I'll tell you, hey, this collection, this one you want to pay off, that one you want to leave alone. Because basically, even when you're paying collections off, all you're really doing is cutting the bleeding. I mean, it's just, it's not going to really bump your scores up. It's just going to prevent them from dragging your scores down. So, it's real good to know which ones that you need to pay off and which ones you don't. Another one that a lot of people I will get are, don't have a ton of credit. Great way to establish credit is secured credit cards. But, one of the things with credit cards, and a lot of people don't realize this, is credit cards can actually pull your scores down even if you're making your payments on time. So one of the big things they look at is your utilization rate. How much of that line of credit are you using? So, for instance, let's say I have a credit card for $1,000. If I'm at 50%, or in this instance, $500 or higher, carrying that balance, every payment that I make, my scores are actually coming down. So if you're at 30 to 50%, you make your payment, nothing really happens. 30% or below, your credit scores are coming up every single month. So, with people that are trying to establish credit, what I tell them is get a secured credit card. A lot of times they start at like $300. And basically what the secured credit card is you go into a bank, you give them $300, they give you a line of credit. The second you get that card, you put $90 on it, because that's about 30%.
Right.
Then you put the card away. kind of forget you have it. Make your minimum payments. Don't pay the card off every month. You want to carry a balance, and pay it down gradually. You can pay a little bit over, $5, $10 extra. Once that balance gets down to like $10 or $20, charge it back up to 90. Never go above 90. And it's one of the quickest ways to start building your scores. And if you can afford to do multiples, like if you can afford to do 2 or 3 cards at once and do that, your scores are going to come back even faster.
Yeah.
So
because they don't want to see that extreme paid all the way off or charged all the way up. They want to have it somewhere around a 30 to 35%, right?
Right. And part of it too is you don't know when that card's gonna report.
Right.
So if you charge it up, pay it off, it could either report with zero balance, zero payment, does nothing, or if you charge it up over 50%, they could report then, and now it's hurting your scores.
Right.
So that's part of it. But they want to, especially with people that don't have a lot of credit, they want to see how you're handling debt. And without having debt, they can't grade your credit.
Yeah, you got to have trade lines. You got to have something to give them something decision.
And that's a big thing that we look at too. And our systems are set up to see those payment history trends. But one of the things too, if you have a lot of negative credit, obviously you may want to talk to William Crawley or something, get that stuff fixed. But that doesn't prevent you from needing to build credit.
Right.
Just because you get some of the old stuff taken off. If you don't have any active credit, you need to get some.
That's right. Yeah, more from Mario Larrea. He's a local mortgage specialist here with MI Mutual Mortgage, longtime friend of the program. Local lender, support your local economy here in Tampa Bay. Not one of the big banks that you see on the corner. You walk in and, they got the bailout money and all that good stuff. So work with a local lender here that's going to help you. Mario Larrea, best in the business. He's got a bilingual office as well, so he can talk to, English, Spanish, and work with you there. Local lender. Also calling in after the break here, we're going to have Rob Higgins calling in. He's the director of Tampa Bay Sports Commission, talking about some of the cool things happening, talking about the Super Bowl coming to Tampa Bay and the NHL Hockey All-Star game coming as well. Stay with us here. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Hey, this is Jarek Robbins. You are listening to the Consumer Quarterback Show with Brandon Rhymes. Please do what it takes to learn all that you have to live the life you want to live it fully, and find a way to give it by paying it forward to others.
Get in touch with Brandon online at consumerqb.com. listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-670-7372.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Mario Larrea in studio with us today, MI Mutual Mortgage, and we're expecting a call in as well from Rob Higgins. He's the director of the Tampa Bay Sports Commission and owner of Platinum MVP Realty here, Brandon Rhymes. And talking to you sellers out there, it's a lack of inventory right now. We need inventory to be able to market to our buyers, our buyer list, our investors. It's a great time to get properties on the market. Mortgage rates are still low. The economy's booming, and it's a great place to live, work, and play. That is Tampa Bay. 813-670-7372. And Brandon Rhymes, ready to talk to you about your value on your property. We'll offer you a free comparable market analysis. Basically the same thing. You pay $500 for an appraisal. We're going to give it to you for free. Compliments of PlatinumMVPRealty.com. Check out PlatinumMVPRealty.com, and we're going to help you win. A couple of hot listings I want to let you know about here in beautiful Safety Harbor. We've got 5 Marbay Lane in Safety Harbor. This is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath property in the Felipe Estates subdivision. It's over 1,800 square feet, $389,000. Now, you've got a double lot. You've got ability to build another beautiful property. And if you build it up 2 or 3 stories, you're going to have gorgeous views of upper Tampa Bay. The existing structure already has a second level where you can see the water, and it's a great place to take a look at. 5 Marbay Lane in Safety Harbor. Attention builders, developers, this is a great infill project for you on 0.5-acre spread in beautiful Safety Harbor. And we also have 1024 Mandalay in Clearwater. This is a great opportunity. 1024 Mandalay Avenue. If you're looking to live on the beach, this is on the north side of Clearwater Beach. 2-bedroom, 2-bath property, 1,800 square feet, split floor plan, and it's a great location just minutes from the beautiful Tampa Bay. All right, on the phones today, we have Rob Higgins. He's the director of the Tampa Bay Sports Commission. Welcome to the show, Rob.
Oh, thanks for having me on.
Hey, thanks for calling in. We appreciate it. So just kind of looking at some of the things happening here. Tampa Bay, we always talk about the bullish economy, the real estate that we have, and we appreciate you kind of quarterbacking a lot of these events happening here in Tampa Bay. You and your team over there doing a great job bringing us the NHL All-Star Game, and I think there's news of a Super Bowl coming up as well.
That's right. NHL All-Star Weekend here in just 3 or 4 days out. And then the Super Bowl, our community's 5th, is really 3 years from a week from Sunday. So we're 2021 for the Super Bowl, and naturally, though, our focus right now is on All-Star Weekend.
Yeah, that's exciting. Very exciting. You look at, Tampa Bay, Tampa in general is just a great place to live, work, and play. A lot of the investment in infrastructure is paying off. I know in the past, previous we were missing out on some of the different events, but now we've got infrastructure here. We've got Mayor Bob Buckhorn, who's a former guest of the show, doing a great job. You got strategic partners, property partners downtown, building a lot of mixed use opportunities as well. So it's really what a great place to feature. Tampa Bay. We've got the waterfront. We've got a lot of things that attract a lot of these folks over to Tampa to bring their next big game.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, we're fortunate to host the All-Star Weekend about 20 years ago, and you think about how our community has transformed over the last 2 decades. I think people with the NHL will be blown away if they haven't seen it since. So we're excited to help showcase all that our community has going on. Naturally, though, we think we're just getting started. You referenced the SVP development, everything Mr. Vinnick has going on. Certainly all the major developments in and around the community are such a big part of the fabric and the future of our community. So it's an exciting time, and these events serve as a great platform to be able to introduce just how special our community is to the outside world.
And with that comes challenges. So, kudos to you and your team for putting together this event at the same time as Gasparilla. So there's a lot of logistics that's going on there behind the scenes. Can you walk us through some of the decisions and how you guys came up with that?
We think it's a great opportunity. If as we talk about Gasparilla, there's some people, quite frankly, that aren't as familiar with it once you're beyond the Tampa Bay area. So to be able to get a chance for an all-new audience to experience it, we think is going to be really invaluable for the community. The NHL has been great partners throughout in integrating that Gasparilla and Tampa Bay brand into the overall look of the logo, down to you'll see it in the broadcast for both the Skills Challenge on Saturday as well as the All-Star Game itself on Sunday. These events really help the community and benefit the community in a variety of different ways. It's the economic impact, the social impact, but then that exposure that we get for hosting as well. So naturally, this event is a really big one. It's one that checks all three of those boxes, and that's why we're so excited for this weekend.
Yeah, that's really neat. Let's talk about the economic impact. By the way, if you just joined us, I'm your host, Brandon Rhymes. We're talking with Rob Higgins. He's the director of the Tampa Bay Sports Commission and bringing a lot of major big-time events to the Tampa Bay market. Over his 13-plus years, he's brought to the Tampa Bay market the 2007 the ACC men's basketball tournament, the several basketball tournaments here. You got the Final Four, the Frozen Final Four, the College Football Playoff National Championship, the 2018 NHL hockey game we're talking about now. 2019, you got the Women's Final Four, the 2021 Super Bowl as well. So great team putting together some great events there, Rob. Now, what are some of the economic impacts? How do you quantitate that?
I'd say there's a lot of different ways to project it, a lot of different calculators for it. So we don't really get in the business in advance of an event in terms of projecting out what it'll be. LA last year, who hosted, said it generated $20 million in economic impact for them. What we really look at are the indisputable numbers, like the hotel visitor room nights that will be used. You can't argue whether or not somebody uses an actual hotel room. We also look at like airline passenger seats and some of those type things. So really, we're looking at about 7,000 out-of-town visitors as a result of NHL All-Star Weekend. We think those visitors will consume somewhere between 8,500 and 11,000 hotel visitor room nights. So a great shot in the arm for our local economy. But then it's the social impact of the event, too. There's a great legacy project going in place at the Vinnick Winston Park Boys and Girls Club, where a street hockey rink will be installed there, where our community's kids will be able to play there for many years to come. So I think there's a lot of focus on this weekend as well. There should be. But the legacy of the event is really important and the imprint that it'll leave on our hometown for quite some time past this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. It's super cool. And you got your start back in at USF is where you started, as well as myself. I was on the inaugural football team at the University of South Florida, played football on that team. We had the infamous old offices over there with the trailers, the mobile homes set up. And, you got your start also at USF. Is that right?
I did. I was a manager for the basketball team all through high school and then college as well. So I'm really familiar with all the inaugural bowls like yourself. That was such a special time in the history of the university, and it's so exciting to see how far they've come now since then. So it's really a special place in my heart, and I'll forever be a Bull, that's for sure.
Yeah, it really is, especially, exciting year last year. And, we've had Coach Levitt on the show last summer, I think it was. And, some of the stories that were behind the scenes, interesting stories of how they started up the program and with very limited budget starting up the program and, having to pitch in some cases where, other coaches would have said no. But awesome program at USF and things happening in Tampa Bay. And, want to flash back to the last Super Bowl because I heard some stories, some interesting, we had two East Coast teams here in Tampa in the Super Bowl, I believe. It was the Giants versus, was it Patriots that they played?
No, the last one in 2009 was actually Arizona and the Steelers.
Okay. So we had the Steelers. Wasn't there a game when we had East Coast teams flying in or something like that, and the airlines were, the airports were over, they were kind of stressing with a lot of the traffic, the air traffic coming in? Was that Gasparilla?
Yeah, that was in 2001. And so that was, I'm trying to think of who, it was maybe the Ravens and Giants at the time.
Yep, I think so.
But yeah, certainly That's a different animal when you talk Super Bowl and Gasparilla at the same time. That's not something I think we would venture down that path again. We're fortunate to have done a lot of due diligence in advance of the NHL All-Star announcement and pulling in the Mystic crew, pulling in the city and the county stakeholders, and really looking at what that All-Star impact will be and how it would work in conjunction with Gasparilla. Everybody, after we really did our homework, got to a good comfort level with it and saw it as the really special opportunity that it is.
Yeah, very cool. Can you stay with us one more segment? We got to go into our break, and we'll come back with you, if that's cool. Okay, awesome. Tampa Bay Sports Commission Director Rob Higgins coming back here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Also in studio, Mario Larrea, mortgage specialist with MI Mutual Mortgage. We're going to talk about more economic impact, things happening in the market, and more about your daily life, how we can help affect positivity into your life as well. And stay with us here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. When we come back, more from our expert contributors, helping you win in any marketplace. ConsumerQB.com. We'll see you on the other side of the break.
This is Warwick Dunn, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show, hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at ConsumerQB.com.
Hi, I'm Jerry from Hot Locks Hair Salon. We are conveniently located at 13414 US Highway 19 in Hudson. I've been a local hairstylist in our community for the last 34 years, 7 of which I was an educator. Our passion is the artistry of hair, and Hot Locks is here to help you achieve your perfect image. You can call us at 727-514-9978.
You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at ConsumerQB.com.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, Platinum MVP Realty and a top listing agent in Tampa Bay, helping our sellers profit more on the sale of their real estate properties. Check out PlatinumMVPRealty.com. And let's give a shout out to Brio Tuscan Grill. Our official restaurant partner is Brio Tuscan Grill at the International Plaza Mall. You will discover an Italian menu, signature drinks, and a cozy atmosphere, bringing the pleasures of a Tuscan country villa to Tampa. We invite you to make your reservation today. Enjoy the best Italian restaurant dining experience. Brio Tuscan Grill, located off of Bay Street next to the Renaissance Tampa Hotel, International Plaza. And we're back here in studio. We got Mario Larrea, mortgage specialist with MI Mutual Mortgage. We're going to talk a little bit more about the mortgage environment, the real estate environment coming up as well. And I want to let you know about a hot listing that we've got here over in East County. This is a hot listing, just hit the market, 6601 Crikel Avenue in Riverview. It's $349,000, over 3,300 square feet at 6 6601 Crikel Avenue in Riverview. 4 bedrooms, 3 bath, and it's a split-style home. Fenced-in backyard. You've got a tree house back there for the kids, and you also have a large area of a barn/garage where the husband can have his cars out there if he's a motorhead, something like that, or have a self-owned business, self-employed business. 6601 Crikel Avenue in Riverview. Great buying opportunity. And we also have a beautiful Apollo Beach property here at 6508 Bimini Court, Apollo Beach. 3-bedroom, 3-bath, over 5,600 square feet, $690,000, and it's just listed. You got bay access, so this is a bring your boat fisherman's paradise here at 6508 Bimini Court in Apollo Beach. Saltwater canal, direct access to the bay, and it's great for fishermen. Folks that know fishing know that Apollo Beach is a great place to be because you got a straight shot directly out into the beautiful Gulf of Mexico.
Somewhere sunny and 75.
All right, back here in studio, we got Rob Higgins on the line. He's the director of the Tampa Bay Sports Commission. So, Rob, another interesting story kind of played out is that we Tampa Bay, that is we were putting in we were vying for the opportunity to host the Super Bowl, and there were some things that happened through that process to where ultimately we weren't picked, but then you and your staff were in a position to be awarded the Super Bowl.
Yeah, absolutely. No doubt. We're really fortunate. I think it's a strategy we've had for quite some time, is like any time you get a chance to tell your story, no matter how the odds could be stacked against you, we always want to take advantage of that. And so we went into a bid process against Atlanta and Miami, and LA had a brand new facility. Well, that was being constructed. Atlanta was under construction with a brand new facility, and Miami had a $500 million renovation. And so naturally, it was a really long shot at the time, but we felt like in conjunction with the Bucks and other community leaders that we put together a very compelling vision for our community's 5th Super Bowl. And at the time, we were not successful. Each of those 3 were awarded a Super Bowl, and we were the one community that wasn't. But again, having taken advantage of the opportunity to share our story, it ended up boding well for us because LA's construction fell behind, which opened up that year that they had been awarded with 2021, and so we were able to work through with the NFL, resubmit, revalidate a bid with all of our community partners, and then were awarded this past fall. So we're really excited for our community to host their 5th Super Bowl. There's only 3 cities in the entire country that have hosted more Super Bowls than our hometown. I think that's really a testament to how our community rallies around these big events and does everything they can to roll out the red carpet for all the fans, players, and coaches.
Yeah, a super cool story there. I love the idea of just being ready, but waiting in the wings. We're there. We're presenting our story, even though it looks like these other cities may win it. We're still there, and we're ready. And here's a great quote by Mayor Bob Buckhorn. It says, "Being awarded the Super Bowl in 2021 is a testament to our city's ability to shine on an international stage. Tampa does big events as well as anybody in the world, and once again, we will rise to the occasion. We look forward to working in meet with the host of requirements over the weekends ahead. Thank you to the NFL and the network of owners who voted unanimously to move, and we will not disappoint." Great quote.
So he said it a lot more eloquently than I did. we were basically getting at the same thing.
Yeah, it's the same outcome, and it's a major injection of money of like you mentioned, the social side of it, into our economy, the jobs, the impact, everything from hotels, airlines, and the food venues, clothing sales, and a lot of the different aspects. So that leads me to another question. Go ahead. Yep.
Real quick, I was going to say one thing that a lot of people don't talk about that I think is a really important point too when it comes to an event like that is it gives it gives a variety of organizations and individuals almost like a finish line in the future.
Right.
So you can bet 3 years out, everybody's going to do the best they can to put their best foot forward, their best face forward in terms of developments, in terms of the real estate downtown, all of those different things, hotels. Everybody is going to do everything they can to get as much done before we have this gigantic spotlight on us.
Yeah.
And so I think that the value of having this benchmark date out into the future really motivates a variety of different organizations and individuals to get projects done, get initiatives in place, really do everything they can to be ready. And so I think there's a lot of value in that as well. Now, the key to it is when we get 3 years down the line, it's not a finish line, it's only a starting point. It's how we leverage that relationships, those exposure, all those different benefits that we receive as a Super Bowl host.
Yeah, I like that. It's a mentality. It's a mindset. It's just like a coach, getting ready to go into a game, or a psychological side of someone that's, maybe fighting something. They're in the hospital. They're fighting to get to that next benchmark, and it's all a psychological game. So that's a great point, is in 2021, the more that we can hit our deadlines with our construction, with the infrastructure, with whatever projects are happening, that's going to help make us look even better to these different organizations, the owners of the different sports clubs that are going to be bringing these major events to Tampa Bay. So leading me to my next question, by the way, if you just joined us, Brandon Rhymes here. I'm your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show. We're talking with Rob Higgins. He's the director of Tampa Bay Sports Commission here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. And, how can local businesses get involved, Rob?
Well, I think that's the beauty of our community versus a lot of the other ones. I think what I've seen on the peripheral is that when big events go to other markets, I read and see businesses, different industry segments saying, well, how is that event going to help our community or help our organization? The difference is right here in our community, we have organizations, community partners, hotels, a variety of different industries. When we get a big event, they're not saying how is it going to help them individually. They're saying how can we help that event? How can we help our hometown shine on the biggest of stages? So it's been a really valuable thing for us to have all these different people with their eye on the ball, seeing how they can help impact an event. So naturally, we have a small team. There's actually 7 of us, a very small staff. We stay really lean and mean, and we rely on community partners throughout Team Tampa Bay to help step up with resources, whether it's helping sponsor events or provide assets that could save dollars on the overall event budget. These events are so much more than a game. They're traditionally either a weekend-long or a week-long celebration with a variety of different ancillary events. So it takes an entire community to help put these on, whether it's getting your organization involved in a volunteer effort, whether it's helping provide different resources. It really does take a village, and I think that really points to how and why we've been successful up to this point.
Yeah, I like that. It reminds me of the Kennedy quote, the great President John F. Kennedy. Ask not what this country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. So very cool, bringing that full circle on the events happening here coming up. So what are some of the highlights? What would be the event schedule for this NHL All-Star Experience?
Really kicks off on Friday night. We've got a free concert in Curtis Hickson Park with Fitz and the Tantrums and Moon Taxi. It's at 8 o'clock is when the music begins. Gates open at 6. We have a 3-day fan festival that's also free and family-friendly right on the doorstep to Amalie Arena in their silver lot. It's called NHL Pregame. Again, it runs Friday to Sunday. On Saturday, we have All-Star Beach Bash taking place at Pier 60 from 9 to 3. Another great free and family-friendly event. So even if you don't have a game ticket, say you don't have a ticket to the skills competition on Saturday or the game on Sunday, there's a variety of different free events that can help immerse yourself and your family into the overall All-Star Weekend experience and get memories that'll last for quite some time.
Wow, yeah, that's awesome, Rob. Well, hey, thanks for calling in, Rob. We appreciate it. Rob Higgins, Director of Tampa Bay Sports Commission, doing a great job over there. We really appreciate all the efforts of your team, and thanks for calling in to the Consumer Quarterback Show.
Thanks for having me on, and we appreciate all that you guys do for the community.
Yes, sir. My pleasure. We'll see you next time. All right. That was Rob Higgins. He's the director of Tampa Bay Sports Commission here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Him and his team do a great job bringing in Super Bowls, bringing in large events, injections into the economy. Just think about the economic impact that these events are going to have on the Tampa Bay market, and great things to come. And it's so bullish on the real estate market, Mario. You look at how these events are going to come in. We'll talk more about that after the break and how Tampa Bay real estate, the mortgage market shaping up, and what you see happening in the next quarter. So stay with us here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. More from our expert contributor, Mario Larrea, in studio here. We'll see you right after this short break.
Hey, this is Grant Cardone, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show, hosted by my friend Brandon Rhymes. Do not touch that dial. I'll come right through the radio and grab your throat.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-670-7372.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, owner of Platinum MVP Realty and a top listing agent here in Tampa Bay. Got a hot property on the beach. This is beautiful St. Pete Beach, 3610 Casablanca Avenue. This is an investor special. Beautiful property, 3 bedrooms, 2 and 1/2 bath. You've got $599 list price on this, and it's a double lot. It's a rare find just north of the Don Cesar Hotel on St. Pete Beach, just south of Kipton's, the Hotel Zamora, our official hotel partner on St. Pete Beach. And just a great buying opportunity here, duplex, and it's upgraded on the inside, and it has some upgrades. Beautiful property here in Tampa Bay. Also got a lot of vacant land as well. Attention builders, developers out there. We've got some vacant land in the area. Lots of opportunities for vacant land buyers. Reach out, PlatinumMVPRealty.com. PlatinumMVPRealty.com. And we just had some great content there, Mario, from Rob Higgins, the director of the Tampa Bay Sports Commission, talking about just some huge numbers, some huge money coming in.
Yeah, I was just thinking about, too, that when he was saying how everybody's going to be getting ready for it, they probably aren't even counting the money that, is going to be infused within the community prior to it even being here.
Right. Yeah. Contractors, Home Depot, Lowe's.
All the stuff that going that they wouldn't have fixed before or improved before, and now you really have that going into a lot of the local businesses and stuff like that. So it's going to help be prior to, and it's definitely during.
Yeah, absolutely, and Rob and his team doing a great job bringing in other games. I mean, there's a host of other games. We talked about the NCAA games, a lot of the championship games. We got a lot of different big events, big venues here in Tampa Bay, and more to come. It's going to be interesting to see also when you look at Tropicana Field, what's eventually going to happen to the Rays Stadium. Where is that going to be? I think the front runner right now is Ybor, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I had heard that too. That or what, have they completely ruled Channelside out? Or
well, yeah, Channelside or very close. Yeah, very close.
That'll be nice. I mean, well, I live in Tampa, so it would be nice.
Yeah,
selfishly.
Well, that's the thing. I think people want to play. They more and more you're seeing people, especially millennials, certain age groups. They want that walkability. They don't want to have to drive a car. And they want to have the walkability of like downtown St. Pete. You've got the Channelside, the Ybors, and constantly redeveloping and improving those areas. So it will be interesting to see what 2021 brings.
Yeah, I mean, downtown, I used to live in St. Pete for a little while, and I mean, downtown St. Pete, you really can't compete with the restaurants and the just walking around and stuff as opposed to Tampa. I mean, Tampa is just so much more commercialized, just buildings and banks and attorneys, and it's not a real it's getting there though, but and I know that's a big focus right now, so that's going to be exciting to see. Yeah, and I think it'll help our on our end, on the real estate end, it's probably going to drive a lot more people to move here, which is definitely going to help out overall.
Absolutely.
So and I probably I would assume that the Super Bowls and all these events where people are coming in, a lot of people have never seen Tampa. I mean, Tampa's a great place to live. So, and affordable. So, we probably end up with an influx of people moving after the fact.
Yeah. Yeah. And you look at the challenges of other cities. You look at Miami, they're stuck there on the coast. They have already somewhat of a condo, bust going again. There's a limited, plus the pricing is so much higher than Tampa Bay.
Yeah, everything is so much more expensive. I mean, property taxes, home, the prices for the homes are just ridiculous compared to here. I mean, it's and the other thing too is it's just like Tampa's pretty big, but it kind of has a small town feel to it too. Yeah. So it's not like you can do a lot of the stuff you can in Miami, but it has a little bit more laid back feel to it too. Yep. So it's a lot nicer.
And you look at almost like the sister city to Tampa is Orlando. So if you want to live in Tampa, it's just a quick short ride over to Orlando. You can go visit Mickey Mouse and all the folks over there.
Yeah, and especially people that are moving down from up north. That's like my stepmom is from Massachusetts, and her family comes down here all the time, stays with my dad, and they all go right over to Orlando. So it's kind of nice it's a good way for her to see her family too. It's like an incentive for them to come because you got the beaches, and then they can head over to the parks too.
Yeah, it's a great place to live, work, and play, as we say here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Now, what do you see happening economic-wise with the mortgage market? Folks, a lot of times they wait till the last minute to get the pre-approval done. They're not understanding how they can invest, some of the low down payment programs that are available.
Yeah, I mean, that is a huge issue. I see it. I run into it all the time. People the market's different now. I mean, it's not where before you find the house, then you get the financing. You're going to lose the house if you don't have the financing in place.
Right.
So that's going to be, I don't see that changing anytime soon here, especially in the Tampa Bay area. We still don't have the inventory is still low compared to the amount of buyers out there. So, if you're thinking about it, get out there, get pre-approved. If you're going to be looking, you may as well be ready to pull that trigger. Otherwise, you're just wasting your time.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to understand the market, and then you look at the ability as an investor to buy a duplex, a triplex, or a quad, or maybe you get an LLC together with 3 friends or a couple friends, and you put together an LLC and you start buying apartment complexes. I mean, look at the way that wealth is built through real estate.
Yeah, definitely, and it's an easy way to start. I mean, buying an investment property, like I had mentioned before, you don't have to have a ton of of income, because you can, they'll count into fact, they'll take into account the amount that you'll be able to get rental wise. So a lot of people can afford more than what they're thinking. And I mean, if you go for an investment property, and you get a multi-unit, that's just that much more money that you can, collect and rent as well. So, it's a great way to start, but it's definitely a great way to make money.
So let's dive a little deeper in that. So they'll take into account certain lenders, and I want to ask LTV on that as well, loan to value. future rents. They're going to look at the future rents on a apartment complex, for example. Let's just say you have 10 units. And you want to buy that.
Now that you're starting to get a little bit out of residential now and more into the commercial. Yeah, so residential you're looking at 1 to 4 units.
Right.
Now on those they will take into consideration like basically when the appraisal's done, the appraisal will go out and do a comparative rent schedule for that property, and then they'll say, this is how much you're going to get per unit, and we'll give you 75% of that. That estimated rental as income to factor into your debt to income ratio. So, it helps out a lot. Like, I see people all the time that before they had made this change couldn't have afforded it. And now they can. And it's legitimate. I mean, if you're going to rent, you're going to have that income.
And what is the LTV on most of those? I know there's credit scores that are involved.
You can do as little as 20% down on investments. Usually it's 25.
Okay. So 20% down. So you got to have 20% down payment. You can go in and control an asset that's going to be valued somewhere around $500,000 to $800,000 in some cases, and then you live in one side. You pay your mortgage. You're going to be able to be allotted 75% of the future rents of the other units in the property. So it really, when you look at that, it's an insurable asset. Worst case scenario, there's a fire, flood. Worst case scenario, you still got that asset.
Well, actually, if you're going to live in it, you don't have to put that much down.
Okay, so that's owner-occupied.
Yeah,
versus
if you're owner-occupied, if you're going to move into it, and that's the other thing too. Let's say you get a duplex or a triplex. If you're moving into it, you can still do the rent schedule for the other 2 units.
Right.
So I mean, you're not going to live in all 3. So if you need the additional income to help you go to that next level as far as the purchase price that you're looking at, that can be done. But I mean, that's a great thing for people to do. I've done a few of those loans for some, like a couple of guys I did separately, but they both of them did duplexes, and I mean, they've paid their mortgage down like crazy because they were making their mortgage payment plus they're taking part of the rent that they're getting and dumping it on top of the mortgage payment. So the good thing about that is any money you pay above what your mortgage payment is, you're paying that back at interest free. So, if you go in and your interest rate is on the paperwork is 4.5%, your effective interest rate, the actual rate of interest you're going to pay is a lot less.
Right. Yeah, because there's ways to pay it off faster. You can really double down on the payment, get that 13th payment in. Essentially the same thing a biweekly payment program will do, given that there's 26 biweekly periods in a year.
Yeah, definitely. So, or just pay a little bit extra every month, $100 or something like that.
Yeah.
Nothing, any little bit you put in is going to help.
That's right. Yeah, it's going to help you as well. And then you look at the ability to write off certain expenses, depreciations, mortgage interest paid with, the real estate side of as an asset. You add all that up together, it's much better in a lot of cases than the stock market, than, some of these investments where the books can be cooked and all that stuff.
Right. And especially, too, I mean, if you're going to live in it, you can live there for a while. But, I mean, you pretty much, in a lot of cases, could effectively make it so that you're living there almost free. You know? If you're renting it out the whole time.
Absolutely. All right. Good job today, Mario. I appreciate you. And also Rob Higgins calling in, director of Tampa Bay Sports Commission. Thanks to him and his staff for calling in and educating and enlightening our listeners around some of the cool events happening. Got the Super Bowl in 2021. You got the NHL All-Star Weekend. A lot of events happening this weekend. Got the Friday night event, the concert series downtown. So engage and go down there and enjoy it. Pier 60 on Saturday, 9 to 3. And we'll see you next time here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We want you to go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. Something as simple as packing up leftover food you may have, carrying it with you to and from your commute, and handing it to that person that you see in need. Be a force for good in the community, and we'll see you next time here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Contact Brandon Rhymes at 813-670-7372. That's 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time for the Consumer Quarterback Show, weekday afternoons at 5 on AM 1380. The Biz.